Great morning, smart crypto investors. This is the Smart Crypto Investing Podcast, episode number 12. Today is January 11th, 2018. I want to thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. If you haven't yet, if this is your first time listening in, please be sure to subscribe to the podcast and also leave me an honest rating and review on iTunes. And we're also on iHeartRadio as well. And actually just yesterday, I submitted the podcast to be included into the Spotify directory. So hopefully that process shouldn't take too long. We do have a private Facebook group. If you go to smartcryptoinvesting.org, smartcryptoinvesting.org, it'll take you right there to the Facebook group where we the group is new. I just started posting content in there. Actually within the past 2 weeks or so. And ultimately, it's going to be a resource for you to go and get some really concrete and solid information. We'll be holding webinars, and I'm also in the process of creating a PDF to create, I guess, a investing philosophy and the philosophy that I've developed when I'm looking to invest in particular coins and whatnot. So this is going to be sort of a spinoff of yesterday's episode. And yesterday's episode, if you haven't checked it out, be sure to listen in. We talked about the importance of education. However, for today's episode, I want to talk about foundation. You know, if you go back to the very first episode of Smart Crypto Investing, you know that my philosophy and my goal of this podcast is to keep things very basic, keep things very simple. Eventually, it may get a bit technical as we dig deeper into talking about specific companies or specific strategies for developing a winning portfolio. But nonetheless, the importance of, and I would say with anything, not even just investing in cryptocurrency, that's even investing in the stock market, real estate, whether you're trying to achieve a particular goal, whether you're in school and you're trying to come out with a 4.0 when you want to get your master's and all the way to PhD. My mindset, my belief is that with anything, there has to be a solid and strong foundation. And the more technical the world is becoming, the more critical, in my opinion, that process is, because we're bombarded with so much information. I said it on a couple of episodes ago. I had a listener who emailed me, and shout out to that person again. But the person was saying, "Hey, I'm just getting started, and there's a lot of information out there," and it just kind of confirmed what I believe. It's like, look, we have to be able to filter the amount of information that we're receiving, but also the type and kind of information that we're receiving. And when we're looking at creating a foundation, we in whatever area of life that we're trying to build upon, I'm of the belief that we have to find at least one or two persons in that particular niche and follow that person, right? I mean, for example, if you're trying to develop a health goal, and you're looking to create that foundation, find one or two people who you resonate with, who are experts in that field, and just study from them, right? You don't need to get information from 10 or 12 different people, because eventually you'll get conflicting information. And this is something that I actually still struggle with. When I was starting up my business, I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I'm hearing one person say this and another person say that. And I was trying to develop a marketing strategy. I'm like, okay, well, this sounds pretty cool. Let me try that. And then I'm listening to a podcast the next day, and I'm like, oh shit, that sounds good. Let me try that. So I didn't give myself the opportunity to let things evolve into a particular result. So when we're looking at investing into cryptocurrency, it's good to stay abreast of what's going on in the marketplace. There's a couple of websites that I read. CoinTelegraph is one, and the other one is Bitcoin News. I actually just came across that. I think it's news.bitcoin.com or bitcoin.news.com. If you Google it, it'll come up, but I'll also link to it in the show notes as well. So those are the two main sites that I get my news from for as far as cryptocurrency. When I'm looking at coins, I follow that particular company on Twitter, and even when it comes down to doing research, which I'll be holding a webinar in the Facebook group on the process that I use to research a particular coin. So if you want to get into that, I don't have a date planned for it yet, but if you want to stay abreast of when that's going to happen, just be sure to go to smartcryptoinvesting.org and request to join the Facebook group, and you'll get notification of when that webinar is going to go live. But when we're talking about the foundation of building a winning portfolio in cryptocurrency, you have to have a particular philosophy, right? And I mentioned this on the previous episode, where if you're a short-term versus if you're a long-term investor, like that will really determine the approach you take when it comes to investing in cryptocurrency. Because if you're a long-term investor, right, you may not necessarily be gung-ho on a lot of the ICOs that are in the marketplace, right? Because your approach is long-term. So the coins that you have in your portfolio, those are going to stay there for a while, right? You're not looking to get into a coin and sell it 3 or 6 months later, right? Or if you could have a combination of the two, right? If you're a short-term and long-term investor, you have coins in your portfolio that you're going to be holding long-term, and then you may have coins that you may only hold for 3 or 6 months in your portfolio, right? But again, that's because you have that foundation. You know where you're going, all right? And that's the process of goal setting in general. Like when you're setting a goal, right? As Stephen Covey says in 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, is when you set a goal, begin with the end in mind, right? So you're starting the process, but you also know where you want to end up, right? So I hope today's episode has been helpful somewhat. Like again, this is I want you guys to know that this podcast is a lot different than some of the other cryptocurrency podcasts out there, right? And I'm pretty sure you listen to those podcasts, they'll say the same thing. But the idea that I have in mind with this particular podcast is going to be a mix of philosophy / inspiration, right? Because I want you to feel comfortable knowing that in whatever approach you take investing in cryptocurrency, that as long as you believe in your heart of hearts and you do your research, you have your I's dotted and your T's crossed, that eventually you'll come up with a winning strategy that works for you, right? Because as I mentioned earlier, I'm creating a process of creating a PDF, 7 strategies to developing a winning portfolio. That some of you may resonate with those principles, some of you may not, right? That's just life, right? I don't expect everybody to agree with everything that I say on the podcast, right? So speaking on that note, so the podcast has just hit 2,000 downloads. So thank you so much for, continuing to listen in and continuing to consume information. So over 2,000 downloads, and we're only 12 episodes in. The podcast is only about a month and a half old. So it's growing by leaps and bounds, and I'm really appreciative of you guys for that. If you haven't yet, again, be sure to leave me an honest rating and review on iTunes. If the content that I'm delivering you don't like, please let me know. Shoot me an email, charleskrivers@gmail.com, charleskrivers@gmail.com. Shoot me an email. Let me know if the information I'm providing is valuable. If you want to hear something else, or if you want to hear a different topic within the cryptocurrency space, please be sure to let me know. Also, you can drop it in the Facebook group as well. I'm active in the Facebook group a lot as well. So, again, thanks so much for listening in to today's episode. And until next time, bye for now.